So this is a spreadsheet. It's a pretty standard spreadsheet that's been out there for a while. I've had this in my possession for over 6 years. But have you ever heard the term cap table?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so that refers to the capital, like the money, that's required to start a small company or even a big company. And how is it distributed can be done 100 different ways, or maybe 1,000. But the more standard you get, the less likely you are to scare investors away. And this is a relatively standard method of doing that. And why is it important to you in the conversation you just said? I'm going to jump to the end of the back of the book, just like any engineer would, and say, if you're one of these shareholders and you get an exit, they call it an exit, the value of your shares is in dollars over here. Even if you're like one of the last guys to the table, you got almost $2 million on a good exit. So working for 20 bucks an hour is one thing, but getting equity and then having an exit, that's kind of the why.
Yes, of course.
And so I'll just step through this really quick. Usually you have a startup formation and you have to figure out what is the valuation of that company. And you really don't know. It's pretty easy to say if you've got a smart founder or a couple of founders that are good and a reasonable technology to claim something close to $2 million in valuation. So that's what this is here. It's just the typical, even 5 years ago, and things haven't inflated that much, where you can basically convince an investor with a good idea and a reasonable team formed. We've got $2 million of equity sitting here. And so you can give yourself, 60% of that if you're one of the founders, and maybe you've got another key executive founder or something on there that gets 20-25%. And you start with this 1.5 million shares here, 600,000 here, and then you hold something called an option pool that will get fed to other people later. I've named a few that I imagine in this model, but the one that's the most important that I think people forget is the person who's the founder really feels like it's their baby, and maybe even any of these early people, it's their baby. But if you can get in your head that you might be a technical person, especially in the crowd I run around, you might be a technical person and there's a better business person that's going to run this business for you, you hold that option pool to go in the hands of attracting something like a pro CEO. And you can see why, because you bring them in when you're getting an investment of $5 million or more, and they're looking at a between $2 to $30 million exit in this particular model that's paying them to get in on the game. And you want somebody good. You want somebody that will help you raise that money. So if you go through all these lists, all that is on this spreadsheet, then you're an engineer, you can read spreadsheets. You have the first angel round, somebody wants 10% of the company, they bring in $500,000, that gets you going. Your price per share goes up a little bit, the valuation of the company goes up a little bit. Then you have what's called a second angel round. It could be a seed round. It could be even a Series A round at this point. Depends on what it is. But here in this model, the second angel round is kind of small, $2 million. Maybe it gets manufacturing sort of off the ground. In this model too, what I did is the first angel wanted to jump in and try to keep close to their 10% ownership. So otherwise they get diluted. See, if I turn that off, if I delete that, they go down to 8% just by doing nothing. So if they want to stay in the game, they have to buy some more shares to stay at their 10%. And that has an effect on the other investor too, right? If you look, let's see, control. I'll just do it this way. Delete. You see, they went up a little bit, so do back.
Yeah, no, you have this fully built out for sure. Yeah.
And then you get another investor in there at the VC round, venture capital round here, and that can be $20 million. But it just needs to be justified at whatever that needs to be. And so but this in this model, it's $5 million they're bringing in. They're getting 15% of the company. And then the other thing to watch is all the people early on maybe they get more shares for they're the person that helped bring in this angel round. So they get paid a little bit to do so. So they went up a little bit in percentage. But then they're getting diluted down. Same thing happens here. Don't feel like you have to have 51% of your company when you're getting more money. Like, that's normal. It's normal to get down to even 10%, 2%, whatever, especially if you go public. Right? Losing shares is fine and why is that okay? Well, again, it has to do with the exit. This $25,000 exit is basically what the VC, you failed if this was your exit, and you're still walking away with $80 million. If you did what you kind of thought you would do, easy exit, $100 million in today's world, $32 million. Don't cry that you have 32% of that company. You intentionally sold those pieces so that this would happen. Anyway, I thought I wanted to make a little video about this, and I thought you might appreciate it.
I do.
Your wife could appreciate that thinking too.
Yeah, for sure.